Hello, everyone. We're going to be starting in just a second as we're letting folks come in. We'll be in just a minute, not even that long. Okay, let's get started. My name is Heidi Ellsworth, and I am with Roofers Coffee Shop, and we are here today for this Affinity webinar with John Kenny of Cotney Consulting. Hello, John.
Hi, how's everybody today?
Very good. And with my bestie, Karen Edwards, who is here, our COO of Roofers Coffee Shop.
Hello, everyone.
So, John and Karen, what a great topic for a webinar on cause marketing. It is so powerful. I'm really excited for us to be talking about this today. I think it would be good just to start out if both of you could introduce yourselves and just a little bit of your history. So Karen, let's start with you.
Sure. So I'm Karen Edwards, and I've been working in marketing in the roofing industry for about 20 or so years. Having spent time at Carlisle in manufacturing, at Eagleview in technology. I've been on my own now and working with Roofers Coffee Shop for about 6 or 7 years. And you know, this is a topic that's really near and dear to my heart, because before I was in roofing, I worked in nonprofit land, as did you, Heidi. So I'm very used to being on the other side and trying to, raise support in a community.
Exactly. I mean, it's so important. Marketing, nonprofit, cause, everything goes so much together. So John, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, well, I'm John Kenny. I spent 45 years on the roofing contracting side of the industry. I currently now with the consulting business, I work with roofing contractors in their business, operationally and training and estimating, all the good things that make your business run well. And I love still to this day working with the roofing industry. And I also have to agree, this is a fantastic topic. Had a lot of life time experience doing the right thing, I'd like to call it. This really marketing kind of goes along with doing the right thing afterwards. So I'm really looking forward to us doing this today.
Me too. And as I said earlier, my name is Heidi Ellsworth. I've been in the industry going on 30 years, and sales and marketing, we love it. And Roofers Coffee Shop is all about giving back. So let's get started and talk about how roofing contractors can bring cause marketing into their business. So cause marketing, John, you have given back so much to the industry, to your community, just overall. Talk, if you could, just share a little bit about the importance as a business and as an individual of giving back.
Well, you know, jumping back to why I would do it or how it started, I as a very young man, or probably maybe late teenager, I had something said to me that really stuck with me, and it is, you will always get whatever you want in life as long as you help someone else get what they need first, right? It's not what they want, it's what they need, which means you're filling a need. And I really, probably at that time, I understood it, but not as well as I do today after looking back. But yeah, I mean, and it makes you feel good. I love watching stories, even on today's the news, the nice stories you put on there, where they're talking to someone who may have been off their path in their life, and then they started giving back to their community, and how well the feeling is and how good it is. Well, you get that same thing in personally and with your business, because it's kind of it's contagious, right? The best way to describe the contagiousness to this in your company is your employees. It becomes part of their lifestyle, and they love coming to work, and they love looking forward to the next event they can do. And it's like a train. It starts out a little bit slow, but once you get it going out of the station, it really picks up steam. And just personally, I've given back charity roofs through the local roofing association that I belong to here in Florida over the last 20 some years. We have concentrated on giving back to veterans, the veterans that live here in Florida. And I mean, I know a couple of years ago, we went and did this roof on this gentleman's home. He was a World War II veteran. He was like 98 years old at the time, and he lived in this house since he's been a kid. So, but he couldn't afford the roof anymore. And you know what? We had probably 60, 70 people from the roofing industry out there, and not just roofers. There was people from companies who were in their admin, who were their estimators. They came because ended up doing the flowers and the bushes and the lawn. So that's what I really want you to think about this. It's not always just what we do in our industry. It's involve everybody because there's something to do.
Yeah, it's so true. And when I think about giving back too, I think a lot of times people think, well, it just has to be, your community, or it just has to be this, or it just has to be that. But there's so many different ways to give back as a company. Roofers Coffee Shop, we are very focused on the industry, and we give back constantly to the associations and to the industry together, plus letting our employees be a part of those associations. So we're going to talk more about that. But Karen, up front, let's talk a little bit about, it's fine, great for all of us to say this, but there are strong statistics out there showing that cause marketing is just in such an important part of your overall marketing program and business.
It really is. If you're familiar with SCORE, that's the Senior Corps of Retired Executives. They're an organization that gives back. They help small businesses. And I didn't know this, but 99.7% of the businesses in the US are small businesses. So that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they've got a nice infographic. I can drop a chat in the chat, a link in the chat about what it means for consumers. And 85% of consumers have a more positive image of a company that gives to charity. And 90% of consumers want to know how you're supporting charitable causes. Yeah. So, I talk to a lot of the roofing industry, contractors, they have big hearts, right? And I talk to some contractors that say, well, I give back because it's the right thing to do. I don't want to brag about it, right, or I don't want to boast about it. But, and John, when you give, you get back. And by sharing what you're doing, that's telling those 90% of the consumers, they want to know what you're doing. And and it could be it could be local charities, it could be youth organizations, it could be your first responders, it could be the scouts, or just volunteering in the food kitchen. When you share what you're doing out there, you're contributing to that better image of your company. And Heidi, you mentioned before we got on here that your daughter-in-law will only do business with companies that are charitable and giving back.
Right. Yeah, it is so true. And there's a whole reason why it works. And it really is, you can see it in people out there all the time. I'm going to bring up Antis Roofing out of California. Everybody kind of looks to Antis Roofing, but they have done an amazing job. Actually, their whole culture is around giving back and cause marketing. And they've grown a beautiful business with HOAs and they invite their customers to come do, like Karen is saying, actually doing events with them, giving back at charities, cooking in, at the Ronald McDonald houses, all the different types of things. And they now are building those relationships with their customers even stronger. That whole purpose-driven, looking at some of the statistics out there, about 86% of overall consumers right now are buying from with purpose-driven thoughts in mind. So if you can show that you are really doing it with those kind of examples, it really comes together. Karen, you also had said, when we talk about statistics and why it works, there's always the feel good, right? And we know it's going to be demanded by this next generation. But according to this executive teams out there, about 89% say it gives them the competitive edge. Mm-hmm. To me, now you're talking dollars and cents too, because that's the competitiveness out there. Karen, any other examples of contractors you can think of?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I'm Bliss Roofing in Oregon. They're always donating. Guardian Roofing, mm-hmm. They have their Halo project. We have an entire section on Roofers Coffee Shop called Caught Doing Good, where we keep our eyes open for stories about roofing contractors that are giving back, and we highlight them. And you know, so for ideas, just go there and check it out. And I also want to mention too that, you know, John said about the feel good, the morale, and one of the statistics that I came across was 93% of employees who volunteer with their company said they're happier. So we're talking retention, right?
Yeah.
So we know the cost of hiring, we know the cost of replacing employees. So if you're not just doing a good deed, but you're getting a lot back while you're doing that.
And, you know, for the employee, I just want to, one quick note on that. You talked about a lot of times contractors and especially small companies are like, well, I'm not going to say anything because we're humble. We aren't going to talk about it, but it inspires others. And I want to throw out there, Bliss Roofing right now is up for the Community Service Award and the National Roofing Contractors Association. How great does that make their employees feel that they are up for this kind of an award? John, you work with companies and all the employees in the field and in the office every day. How important is this to the culture of the company?
Oh, it's extremely important. And I will tell you, just to tag off of that, hiring today and retention. So Generation Z is almost 100%. They're the generation that wants to work and will find a company that has this culture of giving back. And the majority of the millennial generation too. The reason I say the majority, because that's a generation that kind of has a split in the center. There's one of the few generations that kind of goes different directions. But point is, you're pretty much, if you want to retain and hire youth, which you have to do, you've got to build this culture. And the thing is, the companies that do it well do it because their heart's in it to give back, and everything else that good just comes with it. Goes back to what I said: if you help people get what they need, you're going to get everything you want. And that's really where it comes to.
Yeah. And I think it all comes back around to the customers too. The customers are demanding it, just like the future employees are demanding it, the future customers are demanding it. So let's talk about how to start, because I think that is key. And I really have to say, just taking this to where it really matters is it has to be a leadership commitment. I know, and I'm just going to use our own example on Roofers Coffee Shop, that we have a commitment to not only giving back to our industry and associations, but we also, through our club, we give back a certain amount of the dues to charities like Mike Rose Foundation, Roofing Alliance, those kind of things. But that's a commitment that comes from our senior leadership, and we are all committed to it. Without that, I don't think a company, things will happen and you'll have nice little things happen, but the top leadership really makes that huge difference. And I think also, finding out what's important to your employees. So John, maybe you can start there talking about getting that employee feedback, understanding what will get them jazzed, right?
Yeah, so you nailed it right on the head with that one. So first of all, get your leadership's got to be behind it. They got to have a want to do it, but it should not be leadership's personal charities or their ideas of what to do. It really doesn't take hold that way. You get your employees together and kind of get a feedback what they want. And, there's Habitat for Humanity. There's, like I said, veteran charity, whatever their passion is as an overall group, do that. And then don't leave the other ones out. Switch it up. Cover the different passions that are among your own employee staff. And it's so much better than if it's coming from up above, being driven down. We're going to go out and do this charity this weekend. They're going to love it. And that's the key. That's the employee feedback will drive this whole process. And leadership needs to be committed to make sure it happens.
It really does. I have to give one example here real quick, but we had Megan Ellsworth, who works with us. She went and did a care with a roofing contractor in Denver. They did a job fair and training for women in transition, homeless. And she came back so jazzed. She's like, I want to do this all the time. This is just so great. And she's definitely a Gen Z. But really, I think it is important too, to have that presence. What does your company do, and are you giving back in that? So Karen, maybe talk a little bit about that customer presence, really understanding your customers, like our contractors for us, and the community need that kind of surrounds that.
Right. Nobody knows your community and your service area better than you and your employees, right? And your customers. So, invite them as well to, if you've got a charitable activity coming up, that's a great way to build that relationship with your potential customers or previous customers. Invite them to participate, let them know what you're doing. Identifying the needs in the area is that every area is going to have nonprofits or charities or community events that need support. That's the way they survive. They don't. They raise money every year and they rely on volunteers. So some places that you could start, you have a local community foundation. A lot of times community foundations will have multiple organizations as a part of that foundation. So they could make some introductions for you. Check with your local church. Churches are often involved in things like food banks and helping people with housing, or, they may be able to connect you with somebody that has housing needs. There's so many giving back programs in the industry as well. We know that Owens Corning has I think they do a roof for veterans program, and they rely on their contractors in those local areas to help. So, if you are working with specific manufacturers, reach out to them and let them know you're interested in supporting your area, your service area, and your community. So there's lots of ways to identify where you might want to get involved. And then you're going to have probably too many requests.
Yeah. Because once people know that, we heard that on one of our recent coffee conversations when we had a number of contractors talking about this. And they were like, once people know that you're willing to do this, you get a lot of requests. So you need to have a plan. And I think really putting a plan together of identifying what kind of charities you're going to support. I'm of the mind, I'm really big on customers. Look to your customers and where they need that support, that you can spend time with them or helping them to get involved in some really strong community charities. I think it all kind of starts going together. You need to have the right tools, obviously, to do this. And so this is all part of when we talk about planning, putting a plan together. You need to kind of think about, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to give back. How's that going to work? Why, who, and where? But then how are we going to communicate that? So Karen, this is your world. Let's start us off here.
Social media. Yeah. That's the great way to get the message out there. But, you've got employee engagement in there and sales team engagement, because you start inside, right? And you make those decisions. You've determined what you want to support. You kind of put your plan together. Maybe you're going to pick Habitat for Humanity. That's going to be our thing because, we like to use our skill and our craft to help others. And our team has decided that's what it's going to be. So get that message out there. If you're going to be a partner with that organization, you could do a press release. You could share that news on social media. You could even put a few dollars behind it and boost it to get the word even further out. But have that information on your website, easily visible. So when someone comes to see and they're wondering, does this organization support the community? Sure, it's right there on the website. They can learn more about it. And you want to, hopefully you have a blog on your website and you're posting regular updates there as well. When you do engage in an activity, make sure you take photos. Make sure you share that information afterwards. Having your employees and your sales team being engaged is really important, because when they go on sales calls, they can talk about it. They can say, hey, we've got a build coming up next month for Habitat for Humanity. Would anybody in your team have any interest in joining us? I know I made a buying decision. It was a big purchase too. I was installing an air conditioning system in a previous house, and I talked to a couple companies, and the company I chose was the one that had a more robust giving program and supported the Little League, and they shared all of those things that they did, and that That resonated with me. And yeah, include it in your customer presentations as well. You just want to put that news out, because the more you talk about it and get the word out, the more interest you're going to generate. You're going to generate awareness for the organization, which can attract other volunteers, other donations, and it's generating awareness of your business and the fact that you are philanthropic,
Right.
within your community.
Yeah, your brand, you are growing your
Yeah.
brand and with the right things. John, you do a lot with companies putting together business plans, encouraging their marketing plans. This to me seems like, as and we probably should have had this written on here, the business plan, but that is such an important tool to include all of this into that. How do you talk to your customer, your who you're consulting with, how to build that brand reputation with cause marketing?
One of the things I always like to do is, ask the question, do you give back within your community? And they're always like, yeah, most of them actually do. So whether, we work around Christmas holidays, or, we do something around the summer event, we work with a food bank, we work with veterans. So, okay, so how are you getting that out in your social media or your marketing plan? Well, we don't. Well, I mean, what do you mean you don't? Well, as you said earlier, we do it because we just want to do it. I'm like, no. I said, that's great. You want to have that first. But I said, how about looking at this from the big picture, that your company culture is giving back? That means your core value is giving back. And that's something you want to get out so people recognize that, because your customers and your future customers look at a company that's willing to give back to the community differently than they do a company that's just running around trying to do sales. One thing I want to add into this toolbox, if I may, while we're doing this,
Yes.
television, TV. I will tell you right now, I have done more than a dozen interviews live on TV at charity events. No one's ever interviewed me for being a roofer for 45 years, but they've interviewed me because they're at it. So I really want to let roofers know out there, if you want to get on your local market and it's free, I have never seen anyone turn down that doesn't get a week's worth of news coverage replayed when they've been involved in a charity event. And they get the story out about either the person or the group that you're working with. So it's a win-win.
Yes.
So include that in there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. All media.
And tell Roofers Coffee Shop, because we want to put it up on our website too.
Right. Because it's good to have that out in the industry. I mean, that's you want, because you encourage other contractors to do the same. So it lifts everyone with your business. Now, it is important to have a commitment. And I will share, part of our commitment in giving back, because we're a remote company and we have people all over the country. We work a little bit different, right, than a roofing contractor. But think about getting on the boards of your local Habitat for Humanity. I'm on the board. I'm on several boards within the roofing industry, giving our time back, our treasures, our trustees with Western States, or the Davis Foundation. Those are the kind of things that kind of now you're really in it and you can be going every day. So John, why don't you kind of take some of this to that long-term commitment of making it a part of your culture, that and getting involved. You've been on boards forever. So, It's so important.
Well, and again, it starts out small, put it in part of your plan. And this will, like I said, it is a train coming out of the station. It's going to grow when you make it part of your culture. And I know companies that I've seen really successful at this. It's not always them planning 100% of the event on their own. They work in a couple different things, because you got employees that want to give back at different times, where they will take some of their sick time and use it for that, or the company pays them as paid a paid day off that's not part of their vacation to go maybe work with a charity for a day because that event was already scheduled. And those things is what really starts to get it around in your culture. And this has more definitely taught, and this is from my business side. I always tell everybody, look at the return on investment on anything you buy, purchase, go to do. This is the greatest return on investment that you can ever have, because it builds your culture, it builds people's feel-good feelings, it makes people loyal to your company, it makes the community loyal to your company, it makes you stand out above your competition. And I recommend that you want to get everyone that you can involved, maybe not just on the board, but they can be on a committee in a local association, quarterly meetings, get them out there and get involved. And if you do this as a regular long-term commitment, it does no longer seems like a long-term commitment. It becomes part of what you do every day. And it really does.
Yes. Karen, we've had these conversations with our team of getting them involved with associations and getting them involved with what's RT3, different things that are happening in the industry. It is we're starting to see is a strong retention play.
It really is, yeah, because once you get them engaged, they're interested. They're learning, they feel good because they're doing something, they're contributing toward something. So it really, being involved, so that participate is really, really important. And not just, the team, you yourself, one person that you mentioned, Antis Roofing, at the beginning of the hour, and look them up on social media because they're always posting about stuff. And I'm telling you, in almost every charitable endeavor they do, there's Charles front and center with this t-shirt on, carrying a bag of shingles, pack of shingles. Yeah. So it's being involved. So it's not only, saying we're going to do this, but it's also demonstrating. And Heidi, you certainly demonstrate that by your involvement in National Women in Roofing and the Western States, and John, your involvement, with FRSA and the regional association down there. So it has to be, we said start at the top, but also participating, and for everyone. So give them those opportunities. I love the companies that give that those paid hours for employees to go volunteer. It just is a win-win. And we keep saying it, but just, try it. And like John says, it's a train. It takes a little bit to get started, but once it goes, you're going.
You're there.
Here's a little quick example to give you how this really works. You talked about that. I've worked with companies that would give a charitable check, right, to a charity. And that was the extent of it. So we'll use an example of $25,000 yearly. And I said to them, you know what, if you took your employee staff and gave them the opportunity to go volunteer with that charity at their events and you paid them, I said that 25,000 would be worth probably 100,000 in return on investment, because your employees don't care that you wrote a check. They really don't.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you wrote a check. But when you get that culture to build up, so it does work. So that's why I wanted to give that quick example.
No, I think that is perfect. And really, I can't say enough, make it part of your plan, include it in your marketing, share it with us, get it out there and share it with, in your local community, because then it's there and it's happening, and get the processes in place. And like John said, it will just take off. So any questions, you can always send those in to John, to Karen, myself, to make sure that, as you're watching this on demand or in person, if you have anything for the chat right now, please let us know. But we are, as you can tell, pretty passionate about this topic. So Karen, John, that is the cause marketing part of our presentation. So just real quick, we'll go through and say thank you. We love our Affinity program with Cotney. John, thank you. You're the best.
My pleasure.
So we actually, through these Affinity webinars, we provide some fun stuff. And so, John, if you want to start out on what Cotney can provide for our club members.
Yeah, so first of all, you get a great 15% off discount of anything that we do. So we love saving people money. We love getting them involved. And I don't get enough people to take advantage of these free analysis on financial risk, operational risk, software. The people that take advantage of that, once we have that conversation and we drill down, you're going to get so much value out of it. And as Heidi and Karen will attest, I am not the salesperson that my goal is to get you to buy something. My goal is to educate you. And when you're ready, then that's where my products all come in. So I want you to feel that that's my giving back. That's what I like to do in charity for our entire industry, is to give back. So give me a call. And then we do these, quarterly webinars, and we get a lot of good topics out there. And I'm going to stress this again. I hear a lot about peer groups out there, and I know a lot of money goes into planning and traveling around the country. This is the greatest peer group in the world, is to be part of this R Club. You have all your peers from different levels of the industry in there. And I love sitting in on these quarterly meetings and doing the presentations with the group. So you want to take advantage of that and sign up.
It's very cool. Thank you, John. We love having you quarterly. Our members, our club members love it. Anyone can, we really want overall to bring contractors in to work together, to help their SEO, to get their directories, to engage with Ask a Roofer. So there's so many things. So for Cotney clients, anyone working with John, we are going to give you that same 15% discount for our R Club, which includes that full directory. You're on the Ask a Roofer. We'll do a 30-minute marketing consult with Karen or Heidi or both. You know, just let us know. We love to talk marketing. And we also have some books out there, Karen and I do, that we will give to anybody who comes into the R Club and just mentions John's name. That's all you have to do. And then you get 50% discounts on all our classified ads, plus this great networking. John presents quarterly. We have a marketing peer group that goes quarterly. We have these Affinity webinars. We do a lot. So we love having you all on there. Karen, any thoughts on people getting involved with this? Because 10% of their donations do go to charity.
Yeah. If you're wondering, it's $50 a month to be in the R Club. It's not expensive. You know, that's a drop in the bucket, and it really is that network. It's that community. You know, we do a monthly coffee break, which you didn't mention, Heidi, where we get together and we just learn about something new. And yeah, it's definitely worth it. It helps your marketing people will love it because it helps your search engine optimization. Google will like your site even more if you link to a site like Roofer's Coffee Shop. So yeah, I highly recommend it. And it's super easy. You can sign up right online, and we have a great coordinator, Alex, who will get you on board, get your directory set up, and take care of you.
So the best thing you can do for your business is get with John Kenny with Cotney Consulting and get those evaluations done. And we're going to be a little prejudiced here, but we think you also should be in the R Club. So
Yes.
John,
best peer group in the industry.
I love that. Well, Karen, John, thank you so much. And thank you all for watching this Affinity webinar. All of the Affinity webinars are available on Roofer's Coffee Shop. You can find them on the Cotney Consulting directory. You can also find them under our webinars. So please, and if you have any questions, you can see all the information on the page. Just reach out to any of us at any time. Karen, John, again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
now.
We'll see you next time, next quarter.